Welcome back into another episode of The High Line. It's our weekly NASCAR show. I'm Jason Mattis. He's William Blackwell. How's it going there, man?
It's going good, man. I am looking forward to talk about this upcoming weekend's race at the Auto Club Speedway. They have not raced here since the 2020 season, which resulted in Alex Bowman getting the win. But this go around, I expect some tight racing, a lot of tandem drafting because this is a 2 mile track and it's very quick. And these next gen cars, I think, will bring some, I don't know, high quality racing this Sunday. But time will tell. But I am so looking forward to giving out my predictions about this race.
Yep, and let's do exactly that. Before we do that, let's, of course, remind everybody what we do around here. We'll, of course, look back at that Daytona 500, and then, as William just said, we'll preview the Wise Power 400 down there in Fontana, California. Let's go ahead and kick it off, though, with looking back at that Daytona 500. I thought it was an excellent super speedway racing. You had, obviously, several good moments where there was that good, drafting side by side. Then, of course, you're going to get the train out at some point, right? And it's just going to clip off laps at a pretty good pace when the train's going out. But overall, I liked it. It's fitting that we're doing the show today on 2/22/22 when the two car was the one that came to victory lane. What were some of your thoughts on that Daytona 500, William?
My thoughts they're all over the place, but I thought it was a pretty good race overall. You started off like you had Larson on the pole and Alex Bowman right beside him, and on super speedways, the teammates like to jump to start and get in front of the other, but they didn't work that successful at all. They got in front of Larson got in front of Bowman, and they faded back. I mean, that's when Keselowski went up front and led all the laps early on. And yeah, it surprised me, but the Hendrick campaign was not as dominant as they usually were in the race. And yes,
Which
and
was
they were
funny
all
because if
collected.
you were watching qualifying, I was at least watching qualifying. As soon as the Hendrick boys got on the track, all of a sudden they were getting under 50 seconds and they vaulted, all five of them, just vaulted right to the top.
Yeah, then the stage went on, and we saw a big wreck with 6 to go in stage one, which resulted in the 21 car going over. Saturday night's race, for all the viewers out there, Myatt Snyder had a bad wreck, but that was very bad. On Sunday's race, I think with the next gen car, NASCAR did their research. The car did flip. There's no way, and you know what? They're going to stop a car from flipping. They're just going way too fast. So you can't stop it. But what they can do, though, is try to add on to the, I don't know, from keeping it going higher. Because the 21 car, when it flipped over, it did not go 10, 15 feet up into the air like a typical flip would. It only went maybe a little bit in the air. And I know people did not like that flip, but NASCAR, kudos, because you did the job and it was a lot safer and he got out on his own power. So big deal there. But the race went on. Truex won stage one and two.
Mm-hmm.
Very surprising because I thought he'd be riding around in the back.
Yeah.
And then the final stage, just when all hell broke loose, we saw two big wrecks and Austin Cindric winning it in overtime.
I mean, a fantastic finish, though, right there. I thought Bubba Wallace was actually going to be able to take it from him there. But credit, obviously, Austin Center. Another credit goes to Team Penske. You remember last season, was it Keselowski Logano kind of got into it and kind of ruined them up? Well, on Roger Penske this year, on his birthday, he was going to make sure one of those two cars got to victory lane. I remember reading after the fact of the race, he told them, hey, if we get in that same scenario, we're not taking each other out, boys. One of you guys sacrifice, do the work, and get the other one to victory lane. I thought Brian Blaney obviously did a good job there in those closing laps, helping Austin Cindric. My thought on Austin Cindric is I think this now makes him dangerous for a road course because I don't think this win stole a playoff spot for somebody else. That's how strong of a road course contender I thought he was going to be. But boy, does that just take a lot of pressure off. Now when he gets to a road course, he doesn't have that pressure of winning it to get in the playoffs. He's got that playoff victory. Boy, watch out for Austin Cindric when we get to the road course because I just think a lot of pressure has been taken off his shoulders in that two car, and he's going to be able to get it done. Again, Bubba Wallace close for the second time at Daytona 500. Just really heartbreaks for him. Again, I thought he had it. Nice photo finish right there. Any other thing? I got one thing I want to talk about, the wheel modifications there by Penske and RFK. What other things, though, maybe do you have to say about this race?
You hit on it. Cindric is going to be a force to reckon with as the season goes on road courses, but also on every other track because, for one, they got to win.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy Bowman's his crew chief. They can go out every single week and try out something different and maybe get lucky at the end and have a risky gamble and take it and go out on no tires and possibly win a race or two. That's what is the big part of winning the opening race of the season. You've got a lot of flexibility throughout the next couple of weeks, the next 25 weeks to be exact. That
Mm-hmm.
before the playoffs start, you've got to get the notes going. I expect Cindric to struggle here and there. He is a rookie. There's no way he's going to go out there week in and week out racing in the top 10. But as the season goes on, he will progress in the right direction. And also, I got to give a shout out to my driver, Chase Briscoe. I have to. Like, this past week, he had a phenomenal week overall. Qualifying was iffy. The duels was really good, P4, if I'm not mistaken. Then Sunday's race came around. He had to start at the rear end. Came all the way back to finish P3. I was hoping he was going to wreck Bubba Wallace, where he collected a 2-car and he would get a checker flag. But that happened. But Briscoe's time is coming, but I was wanting to give a shout-out to him.
Yeah, he did good. Even Daniel Hemrick. I mean, obviously with what he had to do with starting in the back and then doing the pass through. He did good as well. Let me. And you touched on it there with Austin Cindric having now 25 of the next weeks to be able to make modifications. It feels like this season in NASCAR, because they've introduced the next gen car, and that's what it's kind of a race to, is which team can modify the car under the rules of NASCAR. Because you can't make any modifications to this car. That was the whole competitiveness and parity in NASCAR. Who though can make the modifications under the rules and give themselves more speed, obviously, in the end, and give themselves to win the race? Well, Austin Cindric, as you said, is in a beautiful position right there, because the next 25 weeks he can kind of make modifications and take some chances and take some risks. So like it, and that goes for anybody who wins. I would say in the next handful of races, they're going to have those same advantages as Austin Cindric though. But I want to talk about these wheels modifications, because I think this is a big thing to take away from last week. Is you had Team Penske and RFK make modifications to they widened the pinholes there on the wheels. In theory, makes it easier for the pit stops because it makes it quicker. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what NASCAR does in terms of penalties, because that was the whole thing with next gen, is all the cars are the same. We buy our carts from the same manufacturer. We can all get cheaper parts. It's a win-win for everybody, and again, it makes it fair. So I'm going to be looking forward to, what do you think the penalty should be? How tough should they come down on Penske and RFK, because they made modifications to the car when you weren't supposed to? What do you think?
Well, what's very interesting is you had them take the wheels from both teams on, I think it was Friday evening.
Yeah.
And Saturday, the public knew about it. And that's what was very crazy at the time. A team had some of their new equipment taken away from NASCAR because of illegal modifications. It was very surprising at the time. Like, it was hard to believe that someone actually did that. But as you fast forward time, the Sunday's race, we see the 50 car Kaz Gralla losing a tire. Justin Haley, technically not losing a tire from a bad, loose lug nut. He just lost it, I think, because the tire just fell apart. Like, it simply just broke. The rim did. And that's what resulted in the 31 losing a tire. So the 50 car, I don't think you could have fixed that. I just didn't think they got it tight enough. But the 31 car, I think that's a prime example why RFK Racing and Penske Racing decided to add the modifications to their tires, because it would have made it more secure and prevented from anything happening to it, like what the 31 experienced. And but if they were to come down on them on a penalty, I highly doubt they will. Highly doubt, because NASCAR realized they were kind of wrong this past weekend, and Keselowski and his organization and Penske were all right. Yeah. But if they were to fine them, I would expect $50,000, $100,000 fine. To them, it's nothing. But they want to really get crazy. If they really want to get crazy here, really crazy. I saw it from Bob Cockris on Twitter. They could suspend them from making the playoffs, which that would be very.
Happen. That's not gonna happen.
That's a long shot. When we're talking about odds here, I'm talking about like 1,000,000 to 1. Probably not going to happen, but if NASCAR really wants to get serious about it, they'll do that. But it's a new car. They're going to live to learn. They're going to probably fine them. But I kind of want to see something like that happen, because it'll get something brewed up in NASCAR. But time will tell. But I expect a fine if anything happens. But a long shot, like I said, suspend them from the playoffs.
Yeah, I will look to see if something happens this week because, like I said, I think it just sets a good precedent going forward of what these teams can and cannot in terms of the modifications made to the car. You brought up a couple of those wheels issues we saw. Obviously, there's only one lug nut on these wheels, so that obviously is playing a part. So really important that these guys get the wheels on there secure, and that was Kozlowski's plea to NASCAR as well. We widen it for safety. And that's obviously going to be their pitch after these two tire issues. So we'll look to see what happens. I think it's just an interesting story. And I think it does set a precedent for a little bit going forward. How about Cole Custer? Can't get gas in the car. You ever seen that? He comes down the pit road and they tell him, hey, come back. We forgot to put the gas in the car. How does that happen?
Yeah, it's happened in the past, especially for the Stewart-Haas campaign, because I remember, if I can remember, Clint Boyer in Martinsville in 2018 in the spring, he won that race, but he was leading with about 100 to go. Everyone else was pretty much set on fuel, but he was about 30 to 40 laps short because he did not get enough fuel in. And it's just a Stewart-Haas thing, I believe, because it happens so frequent. And Custer did get lucky and got things turned around, but not the result he was hoping for, though.
Yeah, no, I assume Radioactive is going to come out again Tuesdays like it did last season. I'm sure Cole Custer is going to make Radioactive, and I look forward to watching that little part in Radioactive. I'm sure he's going to have a good exchange with that crew chief.
Oh, talking about Radioactive, I'm actually looking forward to see what Kurt Busch says on the Radioactive. Remember, he went in there in that race, and with 6 to go in the stage 1, remember, he drove underneath the 21 car at Burton. I really want to see what he says about it. I bet you it was all over the place.
Wait, you said Bush. That was Kozlowski that got up under Burton. You mean Kozlowski? Because he was the one that was pushing. He was the one that was pushing him really hard early.
Yeah, the 45 car went underneath the 21. On the replay, that was very surprising. He came out with no damage at all because he went under the 21, barely missed the 20 car Christopher Bell. Just shows you, look, is a thing.
That's right. All right. Anything else on this Daytona 500 for you?
I think we hit it in all cylinders. Truex won both stages, and the rookie Cindric got the win.
All right. Let's go ahead and now move it over to the Wise Power 400, obviously at Auto Club down there in Fontana, California. It's a 2-mile tri-oval track, asphalt surface, as we've talked about. As we talked about last season, we gave you guys some similar comps, so let's do that again. You got Michigan in terms of distance and banking, but I would look at more Homestead and Darlington in terms of tire wear because you can get some real good tire wear at this track. Like if you get the car below the apron to try and cut some of it off, well, you can really wear on your tires at this track, much like a Darlington or a Homestead. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, as you mentioned it, we didn't race here in 2021 due to COVID, but we were here in 2020 when Alex Bowman got the victory. He was strong in both of the stages, getting third and first in the finishes, won the race by 9 seconds over Kyle Busch, so dominating fashion back in 2020. We will get practice and qualifying both on Saturday, so we're about to give you our picks for the NBC Sports Predictor app and the Fox Bet Super 6 app, but make sure you're following us each on Twitter because we will watch practice and qualifying, and maybe we'll make some modifications. What are you looking forward to this week? Anything you're keeping an eye on before we give our picks?
I'm looking forward to see if they possibly do some tandem drafting. I know the car is set up for, more equal opportunities for all them teams out there, and I think this type of track in Michigan will race the same and possibly have some tandem drafting, which will result in one thing, I believe so. I think qualifying is going to be more important than it has been in years prior because you might be starting in the back and might caught up in someone else's wreck this go around, and you might not expect it. And that is something to keep an eye on. Track position.
Track position is going to be important. I'm looking forward to this race because in NASCAR, you have your couple categories of racetracks, right? You have your super speedways, you have your short tracks in Martinsville and Bristol, and then you've got your road courses. Then you've kind of got everything else. And when I say everything else, I'm obviously respecting and mindful of. You have 3/4 track in Richmond, 1.5 miles, got this 2 mile, a lot of miles. But to me, this is where the majority of the tracks take place on tracks like this, and it's going to be, again, who can get the setup right. We're new time seeing this next gen car, who's going to be able to go to these 1 mile, 1.5, 2 mile tracks that we're going to go to more times than not, and who's going to get the setup right. Obviously, this is our first time at one of those kind of tracks, so I'll be looking forward to that right there. I'm also looking forward to Kyle Busch, not necessarily saying he's going to win, but boy, this is his 4th best rated track. He's got an average finish here of 9.59. He's got 4 wins here, which is his 3rd most, and right behind Richmond and Bristol, where he's got more wins, but 4th most. or third most right here at Fontana. His last three, he's finished all three of those in the top three. His last nine, he's at 8 of his last 9, finished in the top 10 with 3 wins again. And this is the 7th best track overall for Joe Gibbs Racing. So I look forward to Joe Gibbs Racing. Toyota's having a good weekend. I look forward to Kyle Busch having a good weekend. What about you? Any other thoughts?
I expect some of the teams like Hendrick Motorsports to be very quick. They were quick in the past, and this go around, I don't think it'd be much different. So expect the 5, the 8, or the 9, 5, 9, 24, and 48 to be very quick and up on top of the leaderboard. So expect Hendrick to be very quick is what I'm trying to get across.
What? Hendrick's going to be fast? I never heard a statement like that. Never heard a statement like that. Love it. They're going to be quick. All right, you ready to give our picks?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's first start with the NBC Sports Predictor app. That's where you can win $10,000. They give you all 3 stages. You got to pick the driver to finish best amongst the stage, and then you also got to give them a top 3. I'm also giving away $25 each and every single week to the winner of the Winning Bets League. If you need that league information, you can go ahead and grab it from this video description. If we take a look and see who won last week at the Daytona 500, it was Daniels Lisa. Comes in first place with 25 points. So hit me up on Twitter, and I'll send you 25 points. Congratulations, Daniels Lisa. Everybody else this week, we all start off with 0 points. So this could be your chance to win. Join the Winning Bets League and compete for a chance to win $25. Let's go ahead and jump into it, though. We're all here to win $10,000. Stage 1, who you got finishing best amongst these drivers, William?
All right, here. It was a tough driver lineup right here. But I realized after Daytona, I came out with 0 points overall in the league. So I need to get someone that I think will be reliable here. And I got Tyler Reddick. And I think he'd be a great driver to fulfill the stage 1 spot. Kurt Busch, I think, was the other option in there. And that's the one I was looking at too. But he's racing the 45 car, new team. I would not expect him to be running up high this so early in the season. So I say the 8 car Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick for you. I went ahead and went with Brad Keselowski. I loved what he did in his first race as a driver and owner right there. And we say we can modify these, right? Let's see, we're qualifying, right? If Keselowski starts to the back, well, I'm not going to like him in stage 1. But if he starts somewhere near the front, his last 6 finishes here at Fontana, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 9th, 1st. That's all those in the top 10, guys. He loves his track. He's going to be there in the end. Let's hope he gets a good starting position. He can be there at the end of stage 1. So Brad Keselowski for me. For number 2, I'm going to go ahead and go with Kyle Busch for stage 2. Kyle Busch. The only thing I'll add, what I said extra, is he's got the best average finish at the 2-mile track since 2019. He averages 4.29 in those 7 races. So Kyle Busch for me for stage 2. What about for you?
I'm going with Kyle Busch. He's won here in the past numerous times. I remember on top of my head, I think it's 2019. He won in 2013. He's going to be very quick, and he's going to be a force to reckon with. And it also, I think he's adapted really well to this next gen car. From the LA Coliseum being very competitive to the Daytona 500, that is something to keep an eye on. I know it's very early, but that has caught my attention.
No, you're exactly right. All right, stage 3, who's going to finish best amongst this group?
Let's be honest here. You have Kyle Larson in this group, and you really can't choose no one else. I got Kyle Larson. He's going to ride the top line and look into the California sunset at the end of Sunday night and then win it. And that's my P1.
Oh, wow. Kyle Larson is stage 3. I've got Kyle Larson again. And kind of like when they did it to us last season, if they put Kyle Larson in stage 3, I mean, you really, really have to feel really damn good about one of those other guys to pick against Kyle Larson. I'm with you. I'll go ahead and take Kyle Larson. All right, we got to go ahead and give them a top 3 if we're going to win this $10,000. So who's going to be in your top 3? We know Kyle Larson's taking that checker flag.
Like, it's going to be obvious as the season goes on that Larson's going to win a lot of races. I believe he'll win just as many as he did last year. So Larson will win. Second place to him will be Tyler Reddick. I expect him to run the top line, to be a force to reckon with, and maybe he might give Larson a run for his money at the end when it's all said and done. P3 right here. My driver was not mentioned in none of the stages, and I thought that was very dirty on the NBC's part. And it's going to be Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe, when they raced here in the past in the Xfinity Series, he was very quick. He rode the top line very well, and he knew how to get a run set up. And I think this will be not much different because these are similar cars to the Xfinity, more so than they had been in the past. So I expect them to do really well here. Maybe bring it home a win, but for now, I'm going with a top 3 finish for the second week in a row. How about that? An average finish to start off the season, 3-0.
He did good last week, as you mentioned, so he's worthy of a top 3 selection again this week. All right, for my top 3, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Kyle Busch in that P1 position. I do think he gets the victory lane. Right behind him, I have Ryan Blaney in the last two seasons, all 4 stages. He's had all 4 of those in the top 10 the last 2 seasons. 3 of the last 4 races here at the Auto Club, he's been able to finish in the top 10. And in the last 2 races here at the Auto Club, he's had both driver ratings above 110 points. So love what he's doing right here out at Fontana. So Ryan Blaney in P2 and P3 rounding it out is going to be Brad Keselowski. Again, I like what he did in the opening race. He's got some really strong numbers here. I think this team's going to be strong there at Roush Fenway Keselowski. So go ahead and give me Brad Keselowski in P3. And that's how we'll round it out on the NBC Sports Predictor app, where you can win $10,000. And again, don't forget to join the Winning Best League, where I give away $25 each and every single week. Let's turn our attention now to the Fox Bet Super 6 app, where you can win another $10,000. 6 questions, correctly answer all 6. These questions all relate to the end of stage 2. So whatever question I ask, it's at the end of stage 2. So for question 1, who's going to have the best, or what will be the finishing position of the pole sitter? A little tough. We don't know who the pole sitter is going to be, but where are they going to finish, William?
I say 4 to 5. I believe that's a reasonable spot, and that would be answer C, and I think that'd be the best option to go with.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I went from 4 to 5 as well. Again, let's see where practice, let's see qualifying, but I think 4 to 5 is a good estimate right there. So 4 to 5. Who's going to have the fastest lap? I went with Denny Hamlin. Look, the best average finish and the best driver rating amongst the drivers in this question. So Denny Hamlin for me. What about for you?
I'm going with E for Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's going to be very quick. The Hendrick campaign is going to be a force to reckon with, and he's going to be putting down some pretty quick lap times.
All right, Chase Elliott for you. Who's going to lead the most laps? I'm going to go ahead and go with Kyle Busch. I think he's going to start near the front. I think he's going to get that setup right and just go to a track he loves and dominate. So Kyle Busch will lead the most laps at the end of stage 2. Who about for you?
Kyle Larson all day long. Number 8. The question or the answer 8.
No, it's question 3. But
or it's question 3, but answer 8.
Oh, the answer. Gotcha. All right. Which Toyota driver is going to have the best finish, William?
I think it's going to be Martin Truex Jr., who's also A. But he's going to be pretty competitive, I believe, the Daytona 500, if that was worth anything. In the past, he has not been very competitive at all. And this year's go-around, he won 2 stages and was in contention for it late in the running. So keep an eye on Martin Truex Jr., and that's who I'm going with here.
Martin Truex, I will say I don't know how he pulled that off the Daytona 500. That is not a guy that has performed well at super speedways. When you gave that pick last week on the show, I was kind of shaking my head inside, being like, Martin Truex, like I don't see it. And then watching that race, before the race, they did the cancer story there with his partner Sherry Strong, and I was like, holy shit, this guy might actually win it. I remember that story, pre-race. Wow, yeah. Good stuff right there. I'm going to go ahead and go with Kyle Busch. I do think he'll be the best Toyota. Not a big shocker there with how I've been talking today. Number 5 is which manufacturer is going to have the most cars in the top 5? What about for you?
I'm going with the bow ties, the Chevys. They're going to be very quick. And like I said earlier, I believe 2 of the top 3 will be Chevys, Larson and Reddick. And so Chevys all day long.
Much like last season, I think this is a tough question. It's always Chevys, Toyotas, or tie. I mean, very rarely, I think, are we going to pick a Ford until we see some speed, on a consistent basis. We know Toyotas and Chevys are the top 2 manufacturers. I'm going to go ahead and go with Toyota on this one. Again, I do like your Truex pick. I think Kyle Busch will obviously be there, and I've got Denny Hamlin obviously being the fastest lap, so I think he'll have a good day too. All right, for the last question, who's going to have the best finish? What's your driver there?
I'm going to answer F. Chase Elliott. I think he'll finish inside the top 5, but definitely not the top 3.
I thought it was easily Chase Elliott. I'm with you. Chase Elliott all day long with drivers in this group. I mean, 7.5 average finish, 97.8 driver rating, 1 top 5, 1 top 10 his last 2 races. Yeah, you're right. Chase Elliott easily right there. All right, and that'll round it out there on the Fox Bet Super 6 app, where you can win another $10,000. All right, it's the Wise Power 400 in Fontana. Look forward to this weekend's race. Anything else you want to say before we drop?
Another driver can possibly lock themselves into the playoffs this Sunday evening. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yep, it certainly is. All right, enjoy the race this weekend. Enjoyed hanging out with you here on the Highline Podcast. I look forward to doing it next week when we recap this race and talk about the next one. Have a good one.
All right, man.
That was a lot of fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and good luck with your picks. If interested in placing real sports bets, then check out my latest daily free sports betting video in the bottom right corner. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next contest.